Hi, it's Xanthe here. It's New Year's Eve in New Zealand. Just got a few notes here, so I'll just try and whip through it. I don't know if the fireworks is going to be happening tonight because of the weather. We'll see how it goes. Now, what I kind of wanted to look at in this video is I've actually been thinking about not uploading any more videos on Bipolar Courage. I kind of want to put my focus onto saw peppers, SOAR, my other channel, which is more my creative stuff. I just want to kind of look at, not really this whole year, but kind of like channel as a whole. So it's been over 5 years, I think. So I did do a year in review in a 7-minute video on saw peppers when I was painting, to show you my latest paintings. So this is what I did from Christmas Day. I started a couple of paintings and then I've just finished them. So this one's in the garden, this one is Golden Hour. Now I showed some of painting Golden Hour just I had to hold my camera because I don't have much space in here, so and just talked about the ups and downs of this past year, so I don't really want to hash that. You can go there and have a look if you're interested. Just from the analytics from Bipolar Courage, this channel has had over 276,000 views. The accurate figure won't show on the about section because I've privated quite a lot of videos. I have nearly 1,200 subscribers. The most viewed video has over 82,000 views. Did I say 82,000? Yeah, 82,000 views. And how much money have I made? Big fat duck's egg. Now, apparently I started the channel in 2019, so 5 years ago. But some footage was 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, some of it was recording when my mental health was derailing really badly, and that was actually showing elevation into mania. Of course I didn't get everything recorded because in that state the last thing I'm really thinking about is recording, but the leading up to it was like a month into 7 minutes, was kind of looking at my own form of therapeutic processing, which was therapeutic, but it just spun out of control, you know, being off meds and the intensity of the trauma stuff. Now, there were a lot of supportive comments. You know, sometimes you get trolls and you get, you know, people accusing you of being an actress and all that shit. My response is just like, well, where's my Oscar then? I just as an aside, if I look a little bit different, I've dyed my hair a little bit darker, a few shades darker. It's called Dark Chocolate. It's actually kind of similar to the colour of my hair when I was probably since my teens into my 30s. Haven't actually gone grey yet, like fully grey. In my 50s, kind of just my pigmentation in my hair has faded a little. So, you know, I get more of a greyish cast. So as an aside, yeah, I haven't coloured my hair for a couple of years. I just felt like a little bit of a subtle change, even though I feel kind of guilty putting chemicals down the drain, because I do have an analytical chemistry degree, and one of the things we used to study was all the toxins in the environment. Anyway, so what was my channel about? Just kind of skipping through, having a look. It's kind of muggy in here. The weather can't make up its mind whether it's hot or cold or muggy or whatever. So I've talked about things like medications, even see what medications I take. Yes, I am still on medications, side effects medications, stuff like that. Diagnoses, in particular bipolar disorder, depression. Major depressive disorder was actually my original diagnosis. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, autism spectrum disorder, and related, you know, diagnoses that look similar to all of this. I've talked about that, I've talked about advocacy, I've talked about the annoying politics of all of this stuff. I've talked about how clinicians see things versus how I see things. I've talked about the bullying which has occurred, which unfortunately is strongly linked to the identity politics bullshit. I'm just going to call it that. Talked about some of my maintenance and coping skills and fitness journey and creativity and painting and stuff like that. Although because the painting and stuff is such a passionate thing for me, I do that. I have shared that more on Soul Purpose of late. And so a big milestone for me I recently shared was finishing therapy for PTSD. So I've had nearly 6 years of therapy. Most people would probably take about 18 months. It's just the complexity of what I'm dealing with. It doesn't mean that I am completely cured. It just means that I'm managing the best I can, and, you know, with the support, the triggers are less intense usually. You know, able to manage a lot better. You know, still working part-time and having a lower stress lifestyle. To help manage things overall. I'm still considered to have a impairment of a mental injury, etc. I've talked about this at length. But I feel that what I've talked about, and even being very vulnerable, and I'll tell you what, some people can be terribly, horribly nasty when you're vulnerable. You know, just from still processing stuff when I started the channel, I was still in therapy, still working through shit. And, you know, I'm not completely all there with everything. No one ever is. Is there no one ever arrived, really? No, they haven't. So, but you know what? I just feel like I've pretty much said all I need to say about this kind of topic, you know, and people are going to be keeping, you know, the same old boring arguments, you know, they want to, like someone saying they want to say their identity is ADHD, like I am ADHD. I mean, that makes no sense. Are they saying that they are a disorder, literally? I mean, I don't know. It's just rehashed around and around and around and around. And I'm kind of bored of that. I am bored of it a bit. And I feel though that, you know, people are still saying to me, thank you very much for your insights and being vulnerable and, you know, all of that. That what I've created hopefully does help people. Some people have said, you know, thank you very much, it has helped me understand my partner or myself or whatever. But I feel that I have nothing much more to add, and you know, it's actually even been quite hard for me to kind of just get on with it and finish my last book kind of related to the topic. Oh, my dogs are going to start up next door. Soul Purpose is the sequel to Pet Purpose. Basically, the theme of my writing books, which was very challenging for me, was actually relationships with disabilities, especially the psychiatric variations. Now, I have done a little bit of work on it this year, like as in, you know, just sorting out what I have retained from my journals, because I've had to destroy them with moving here. I've been flatting for over a year now. It's, you know, there's been a lot of life adjustments for me. You know, but I've been focusing mainly on my painting this past year because of, you know, just processing with my dad dying last year as well. And just, you know, the whole upheaval of everything. So I just, I won't say never upload again, but I know I've said it before, I feel like I'm done with it, you know, but I do think that, you know, going into a new year, that maybe it is time to leave this behind. I'll leave it up for now. I mean, who knows, maybe I will delete one day. I did have a blog, Bipolar Courage. I deleted that some time ago, I believe approximately a year ago. I can still see it, but I've taken it down. I have two current blogs. One of them is on soulpurpose.com, SOAR. The other one is on soulpurpose.nz. Now NZ is more the kind of more the art stuff, but you know, they do kind of overlap a little. because the art has given me a voice. The art is a form of therapy for me. Now in one of my books, the book that I published just before my dad died, Bipolar Courage, Are You Sure You're Not Autistic? Give that one some love, oh please. Because, I mean, you have the odd sale here and there, but it just feels like a little bit disappointing. You work so hard on something and then they just get buried under a million of other books. But anyway, just the main character other than myself in the book, the subtitle comes from the person, was a man. He said to me, "You're compelled to create." And that's so true, and I create in lots of different ways because I get burnt out really easy, so I can't actually paint full time, like call myself semi-professional artist or, you know, hobby business or whatever now this past year, but I actually can't do it full time, even though I'd like to. But so I switch between things, you know. I do a bit of work on my fitness, and then I do a bit of, you know, trying to keep consistently. Like, for example, when I'm painting, my goal this past year was just trying to do at least one painting per month. Well, in this past year I've done at least 20 paintings, so, you know, some of them are more process paintings. I did take part in a group exhibition. Anyway, Sore Peppers is, you know, where my things like my love of colour, I'm exploring things like rediscovering my singing voice, because I used to be a mezzo-soprano, now I sing more in tenor range, you know. So even though people go, you can't be a female tenor, well, you know, your voice as you get older does often drop, so I can't sing the high notes anymore, and I can sing a lot more lower notes. So and recovering from post-viral bronchitis recently, so sort of that's been a bit sidelined. So what I do though is I can focus on something else, and yeah, I am kind of, I don't know, trying to make a concerted effort to try and get that final book done. My books take me years. The memoir only took a few years to actually write because, you know, I basically just didn't have to, you know, make opposite characters or change things. All I did with disguise was a mission, let's say exactly where people were from, etc. like that. So anyway, I think I've covered everything on my notes. Let's have a quick look at this other notes I have from my other video. Just some of my accomplishments this last year. I did get a red ribbon for my memoir. I was 1 point off being finalist, and that was an international independent book awards called the Wishing Shelf Book Awards or something like that. I did write about it on my blog. I got 3 commendeds out of 3 for national photography awards, and that was just like with my entry level kind of gear. So that felt really good. I think I was 1 point off being highly commended. I went to Australia for the first time in nearly 10 years to see my son. So he's lived in Australia since childhood. He's Kiwi like myself. There was, yeah, first time travelling overseas, you know, it was quite a big daunting thing for me, you know, with the difficulties that I have. I don't really want to be defined by disability. I don't even really mention it. It's just, I don't know, some people will call me ableist or whatever, and it's like, oh, whatever. I'm just so sick of the politics and bullshit. Just on the side with Australia, what's interesting is that, I forgot to say forgot to look up to double check, but most of my viewers are from the USA, but a few people have asked me if I'm Australian, and somebody insisted that somebody who is proudly a Brit, they call themselves, from, you know, British, said that I must have an Australian accent if people think I'm Australian, and I'm thinking, well, a lot of people from overseas can't tell the difference between Australia and New Zealand accent, you know, if they're not, unless their ears tuned to it. It was commented on a video, going on a little tangent here, about someone, it was Canadian, trying to say the difference between the Australian and New Zealand accent, but everything they were saying the Australians pronounce it, she was saying it how the Kiwis pronounce it, and then she was doing a different accent again, and these people were saying, oh, this is completely wrong. So anyway, apparently I can mimic an Australian accent out of, if I needed to, like if I was asking for ink, I'd say ink, you know, they sort of say ink, everything. Anyway, let's not harp on about there. I finished my therapy. That was a huge milestone for me. I've, you know, caught up with some friends this year. The fitness thing, I've just been in particular interested in bodyweight exercise. The couple of times a week, just using the horizontal bars at the parks, you know, sort of like basic calisthenics. I found that really beneficial, and like strengthening my shoulders and my arms and my back, etc. Haven't lost much weight, but I do think that I've swapped out some of the fat for muscle, and some of the downsides of this year. I kind of rehashed them around the video a little bit, but I did go in a little bit more detail. I did have a car crash this year. I didn't get injured, but it's still, you know, a bit of a pain. A couple of knee injuries, including falling off my bike, water bike this year, and just been getting over the bronchitis. So we did put a memorial tree, and me and my sisters, for my dad. But anyway, I just kind of want to say thank you for people who have been supportive of this journey, and I'm, you know, not intending to upload to Bipolar Courage, but as I just feel like I need to move on from that part of my life and just focus on Soul Purpose, my creative stuff, which you know, brings me a lot of joy, and I like to share that. I share lots of free art tips I'm going to be sharing. I've already started just some free music tips. You know, people, I've only got a little tiny budget keyboard at the moment because I don't have space for a piano, but just some basic tips, you know, how to play chords, etc. You know, just the good thing about YouTube is that there is a lot of free stuff to learn. Unfortunately, there's a lot of crap on YouTube as well. But just want to say thank you